Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our first topic in our marketing series roundtable. Our moderator, Pam Clark, is the founder of her company, Clark Concepts, a full-service creative communications company. She is a marketing services and design expert with more than 26 years of experience designing and developing brand strategies and communications for a variety of industries. She's chair of our marketing committee. She sits on our board of directors and was named RCC's 2020 Small Business of the Year. Welcome, Pam. Thank you for moderating today's panel.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Margie, and welcome everyone. I'm glad you joined us. This is going to be a fun and informative session. We have our expert panelists here with us today. I'm going to introduce them. Tim Fahey with Dirigo Agency, Margaret Doan with GKA Advertising, and Dean Hua with Sachi Studio. Each of you want to say a little something about your company? Margaret, you want to start?
Sure. Thank you so much for having us today. Very excited about it. I work with GKA Creative Agency. We're a full service agency based in Rockville, Maryland. And we work with clients of all shapes and sizes, doing everything from branding to web development, print placements, and video. So very excited to be here today to share some of our thoughts.
Hey everyone, Dean Hua. I'm owner of Sachi Studio, which is primarily a pay-per-click marketing agency. So clients typically hire me for marketing across Google, Facebook, or YouTube ads. I've been in digital for the better part of 11 years. So this was back in the days of MySpace, if you guys remember MySpace, and when we were downloading illegal music off of Napster. So that's how long I've been in digital.
LimeWire for me.
Oh, LimeWire too.
Tim? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute, Tim.
Nope.
Oh, we'll come back to Tim. Okay, we are gonna move on and we'll come back to Tim when he's able to get the audio straightened out. For the format for this presentation, we thought that rather than show slides and talk at you, that we would have this be more of an informal kind of exchange in terms of interactive and more of a discussion with the panelists. So you can feel free to ask questions as we go. You can either put them in chat or raise your hand. And you may want to take some notes, as we don't have a presentation to send you afterwards, so that you have your takeaways to take with you afterwards.
I changed my microphone. Can you hear me?
Here we go. There's Tim. Okay, yep.
Anyway, I'm Tim Fahey. I'm with Dirigo Agency. I've been in the business for over 30 years, going from the traditional side of things and reinventing several times to digital and social media and video. So we do a lot of content development, work primarily with technology-based companies for most of the years, and more local companies lately. So
Great. I'm glad your audio worked out.
yes.
So the topic being digital marketing, and you may or may not know what all that entails. Typically, digital marketing is referring to social media efforts, whether that's your own social media posts, your paid campaigns with social media, your e-newsletters, your website, all of these kind of digital pieces together are examples of digital marketing. Video being something that is really on the rise. One winner of 2020 is video. It's been significantly climbing in the digital space as one of the most effective ways to reach people in the current environment. Some marketers are saying that even more so than their website. You know, obviously your website is very, very critical. That's what's driving traffic from your digital efforts or to your website, but video being more and more important as a way to reach your potential clients, your community, and engage with them. And as we navigate this new, kind of our new normal, that we need to be sure to include digital in our marketing strategies, video. using video can really help you get more traction in your social media efforts. You can get much more engagement and really bring your brand to life, much more so than any other media. People tend to look at video and you see it stands out more as you're scrolling through your feed. Online videos, according to Cisco Internet Report, will account for 82% of all internet traffic by 2022. So this is definitely something we need to pay some attention to and put some effort toward. Video can really increase your traffic in terms of your engagement, improve your click rate and things like that. And we're going to show some examples in a minute. And they really don't have to be fancy or professionally produced. In fact, oftentimes the more casual and informal they are, the more authentic you can come across to your audience. So we'll go through how to do this and how to get started and things to think about throughout this presentation. We'll start by asking, is anybody currently using video in your efforts, in your marketing efforts? Raise your hand if you're currently doing much. Yeah, doing a little bit, Andy there. Trin.
Right.
And if you're not, are there certain reasons that are holding you back? Does anyone want to share anything in terms of what's preventing you from exploring video? Yeah, Trin. You're on mute.
Good.
I mean, I think that we would do a lot more, use a lot more videos if we can produce better looking ones, more professionally done ones. Because I mean, I really believe in the power of them, but we need to improve, and that's what I'm hoping to learn from this session.
That's helpful. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, I think it's pretty common is people think that they're going to come across not professional, or they're kind of hesitant to put themselves out there, that kind of thing. But I think that these are things that really you can overcome, and we're going to provide some strategies for that. And we're going to start with some examples. Margaret, do you want to go first and share your client example?
Absolutely. And I do see we have some other questions in the chat as well, which we'll make sure to address.
Yeah.
So I think, Trent, your question about professionalism, Ellen's asking about where to post it. Sharon's bringing up the point about editing and time. I think Dean has some great thoughts on this, but the example that I'm going to share is from a client of ours who just did this on the side. As we entered the pandemic, we had some situations come up where this is a real estate client. They can't host a model home grand opening the way that they used to because they couldn't have people come through the doors with COVID. And they needed a really quick way to put something out there that would help them communicate about the specialness of the community and the house and all the enthusiastic stuff that would be really great to say face to face if you weren't in the middle of a national health crisis. So we worked with them to address some of those questions that you brought up, and I'll talk a little bit really quickly as I share my screen. So we worked with a salesperson. His name is Eric. He's fantastic. And he just put together a really quick video, as you can see, with his cell phone, walking around the community, talking about things. He eventually, went into the model home and took people on the tour. And he had no fear. This was about an 18-minute long video, and he just dove right in. He prepared some notes ahead of time, so he knew what he was going to talk about and kind of had an idea of what he was going to say and highlight. But it was pretty casual. You can see that this is not a professionally produced video. He was just doing this on his phone. But because he took the time to think it through and understand what his talking points were, it turned out really well. And this client did a great job of promoting it on their site. So kind of thinking about where you're going to post it. Coke took a look at where their audience was, and their audience is really a big user of Facebook. So we put together a Facebook event for them that they could boost and post. And they used that as a sounding board to attract people to their video and get them to watch it. So they went through that process of getting it out there. They hosted it on here. If you go to their profile, you can see it under videos. So people have still been going through and watching it. And they had a really good response. They had 65 responses. It had 149 views the day of, and I think it's grown to over 600 views at this point. So people are using it. People are engaging with it, even though it's not fancy or fun. You know, Eric's a great guy. He's pretty photogenic, but it's not like, you know, he's not out there with his coiffured hair looking fabulous on a professionally produced situation. He's just kind of going there and talking. And I think that's what video really does, is it gives you the opportunity to connect with your audience in a personal way that they don't have to go read a bunch of stuff. You know, you can tell them this is my main point verbally and they'll get it, as opposed to having to read something or dig through a photo gallery. So
can you talk a minute about setting up that virtual event? I think that's a really cool piece of this.
Sure.
That businesses should consider to drive interest, generate interest and get engagement when they have something like this to share.
Yeah, absolutely. So we set it up as a Facebook Premiere event. Premiere is a product that Facebook has that allows you to have a video release at a certain time. One of the nice things about the way that Eric did his video and the way that we scheduled the premiere, as opposed to going live where you're on the spot and everything is in the moment and unedited, Eric was able to record that video, shoot it over to us from his phone via WeTransfer, which is a large file sharing site. And we were able to just kind of play around with it a little bit, cut a couple of quick things. But then we scheduled it in Facebook as a premiere event so that it would go on at a certain time. And we just set up a Facebook event the way that you normally would. You can see it's just got some quick details, a link to the community information. We invited people to show their interest and RSVP. And then in the discussion, you know, we were linking people to the video. So when the video premiered, anyone who had shown their interest or said that they were excited about it, when they were on Facebook, they would get a little notification that said, hey, the video that you're interested in is premiering now. You've probably seen something like this while you're on Facebook. And then they could just tune in. And it was great because Eric was in the chat associated with that video. So, you know, people were watching it and saying like, oh, I love that kitchen. Like, what finishes do you use? Are those included in your package? And he was right there answering questions. So it was just like he was hosting this event live in person, but it was all in a virtual format. So Facebook has some great free tools that are out there that you can utilize. You've probably done a Facebook event in the past, or if you haven't, it's super easy to set up.
Great.
And
a question, yeah. Andy has a question. What was the name of the file sharing site?
It's WeTransfer, like you and I, WeTransfer.com. And I can put that in the chat as well. But it's great. It lets you send files like up to 2 gigs for free.
And then another question from Sharon. Can you let us know how much this video premiere costs to get up and running?
It is free, which is fabulous. So Facebook Premiere is a free event. You can boost your posts. You can boost your premiere the same way that, or your event, the same way that you would boost any other piece on Facebook, which is you paying to reach an audience that is larger than your organic audience. But that is not a requirement for the platform. That's just something you can do if you want to reach a larger group of people.
Great. If she met your services, we'll post contact information in the chat, and then you can reach out to Margaret after this session regarding the services. How's that sound?
Great.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's a really good case study. Next, we're going to go to Tim, who's going to share some success as well.
Okay. Hi. I'm Tim Fahy, and I've been working with also the Chamber on some of their social. And one of the things we did recently, I guess February this year, is we actually post a lot of social. And so when we posted one for the for this one gentleman, let's see what's his name, Brad Sherman. He actually we actually posted his announcement as being one of the biggest and financial organizations in the area. So it only got about 19 posts, but what we did right after that, I called and reached out to Ashley Perderman, who is their marketing coordinator, and asked her if she could just do a little intro to the post. And so when we did that, you know, we posted it up on the site, and I can show you what it looks like. let's see, chat. Let's see here. We kind of just, posted this, little video here. It does have sound.
Financial advisors list of DC. Super exciting. Marketing coordinator at Sherman Wealth Management. I wanted to share some awesome news with you guys. Our very own Brad Sherman, founder and CEO of the company, was named on Washingtonian Magazine's Best Financial Advisors list of DC. Super exciting news. Check out the announcement in the link below, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, so it was about 19 seconds, and oddly enough, the next morning when I woke up and looked at it, it was up to about 400 people reached and 250 engagements. So, which is dramatically different. And it was just a small little introductory post.
And that was a different. You saw a big difference between just posting something, a static text or static image, and then just asking somebody to informally say something about it. Really made a dramatic difference in terms of adding the video piece.
Yeah, that's right. And so the idea is it doesn't have to be too fancy. Matter of fact, she did this so quickly, I didn't even realize I had it in my phone about a half hour to an hour later. So when I posted it, I kind of put it up there, kind of forgot about it. And then it was such a good surprise that we actually had it. Of course, I did put a lower third in the to put her name in the video as well. I took it into Premiere and did a quick edit, posted it. So that helped give it a little bit of context.
And the post feature that you can see there, that's something to consider as well. If you have something in particular that you'd really like to get visibility for, you have an upcoming event or something like that, you may want to consider boosting that post. And you can set your budget for that as another kind of avenue to pursue.
That's right. And so, so we've been experimenting with that. And I noticed that there's a few other things we've done to be able to kind of get more engagement. So some of my other clients, we've done work in the past. We worked with Cisco Systems, actually, with one of my technology-based clients. And we've done videos that start with, like a script, right? And generally, when you have a little more of a corporate type of thing, you tend to have you get more scripted. In this particular case, we actually did a 15-second cut, a 30-second cut, and a 60-second cut for the video. And so which would, so they could use it on different social media platforms. And so the 15-second cut, it was really just to, introduce the product, because it was a new product that they came out with. Let me see if I can find it here.
I think, and what you're seeing here too is another example of a good thing to think out, and that is a storyboard where you have your visuals and your content, kind of laid out here to help guide you in producing the video.
Right. And so this is like a 15-second cut, with the music.
Introducing the Cisco Catalyst 1000 series switches. Enterprise grade quality for small deployments and businesses of all sizes. Gives you the simplicity, flexibility, and security you need.
So I shot this on my own and did some of the research, and I'm one of the branding supports for them as well. So
somebody asked earlier in the chat, how do you go about editing these types of videos when you're doing it yourself? What are some of the tools you can use that are easy that someone who's not a professional videographer can use?
They have a lot of options. I'm sorry, just real quick. They have a lot of options for even on onboard phone. You have Adobe Rush, but if you have an iPhone, you can do the iMovie. You have also Adobe Premiere, and also you do have the Apple iMovie, which is fairly simple, and of course Final Cut Pro. The Final Cut Pro and Premiere are a bit more sophisticated, but they're fairly easy to learn.
Okay, and there are a few other options Dean just put into the chat there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, Adobe Premiere is obviously the most, that's like high end, that's what the professionals use. But if you don't want to mess around with Adobe Premiere, which definitely has a learning curve to it, like I'm a novice, and for my needs, I use Wondershare Filmora, $80 one-time fee. If you don't want to pay $80, there's OBS, which is open source, free, very powerful as well. Actually, I'm sorry, I think OBS is more of a video screen recording software, but video editing has advanced so much here in 2021 where our phones, like if you just go to your Apple or Google Play Store and search video editing software, tons and tons of apps out there for like 20 bucks or less. So it just really depends on what your needs are.
Great. And this is a good transition to you, Dean. You had an example to share as well.
Oh, right. Let me share screen. So this isn't necessarily my client, but I did run into this because I want to share. You guys see this Facebook video?
Mhm.
Yeah. I'll just play it while I'm talking. I'll turn down the volume. So I was running some video ads for a client of mine in the physical therapy Cairo space, and I ran to these guys. Some of you guys may know them. It's a Merriwell chiropractor. They're a local regional chain. And the reason why I want to show this particular ad, let me stop now because you guys kind of get the point. The reason why I wanted to show that was a lot of people think when they think of video production, they think of high end. They think they need to pay, I don't know, anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 or more. Like I said, it's 2021 now, and video has advanced so far that your phone is capable of 4K. Like and the reason why I showed that particular video ad, which got ridiculously good engagement, was that if you took a look at the ad or the production, it's really just done on a smartphone and vertical format, which is actually which is something you should not be doing. You should be recording horizontally for placement reasons. And then really, if you think of video is just simply motion and audio. That's really it is. And if you take a look at these videos, like the one I just showed, it's someone just recording B-roll footage of the chiropractor working with a client, and then they insert or overlay some background music with some text or screen caption. And so if you understand the basic concept of storyboarding, video can be pretty easy to do, in my opinion. So.
Great. What about the platforms? Do you have any recommendations on, there are a lot of platforms to consider out there. Do you post your videos to Facebook, to Twitter, to, TikTok? I'm not a teen dancer, should I be on TikTok?
No, yeah. So, so first of all, and this is coming from a paid ads guy, like, clients hire me to do paid media, not necessarily organic, but I'm very, very, very bullish on organic social media here in 2021. Like, if there was ever a time to get on social media and harness and leverage organic media, now's the time, because TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, all of these are video platforms. They give so much reach to users right now, because what you guys don't know is that right now there's a battle between all of these various platforms who are trying to compete for eyeballs, right? Like TikTok, if there was ever any doubt back in 2020 that it was a fad, I don't think that's, an argument anymore. It's here to stay. So as it goes back to Pam's question, like, which is best? I think it really just comes down to strategy, right? Where does your audience hang out? And so if your audience is like more of a B2B platform or B2B audience, definitely LinkedIn. Like, LinkedIn is crazy organic reach. The decay rate on LinkedIn is you're probably looking at like 7 to 10 days before your video is no longer seen. Instagram, 2 days, not very long. TikTok, I've had friends who, actually, let me show you guys one quick video. Let me share screen again. So you may want to turn down the volume on this.
Located in Rockville, Maryland. Okay,
so this is a friend of mine, Gary. He runs in the Rockville Town Center the Guzzo BBQ restaurant. Some of you guys may know it. I actually interviewed him. And so this is not his TikTok video. This is a foodie influencer who came in and captured some B-roll footage and then put it into TikTok. TikTok video, 60 seconds. And again, all you see here is just B-roll footage of them eating food. They overlaid some music, which TikTok provides. And then she does the food influencer. She does the voiceover. So really, it just really depends on where your audience is hanging out. And with regards to that video, it got more than 1 million, I think more than 1 million views, 4,000 likes, and 1,100 shares. I talked to Gary about it, and he launched back in November, the restaurant in the middle of a pandemic. Let me remind you guys. And he counts, I think, according to him, he got about 30% of new revenue. He credits that to foodie influencers, either IG or TikTok. So you don't necessarily, I know the entire point of this panel is like to get you guys on video, but if you don't have the time or the money to do video, highly recommend, if your business is appropriate for it, highly recommend you tap into influencers who has your market.
Great. We have a question from Michelle. What are the most professional ways to make more informational-based videos, fancy PowerPoint slides, essentially, in terms of transition components and things like that? Margaret, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you know, we've put together a series of videos where we'll even do something like this, where we're actually doing a recording of face-to-face or a panel kind of discussion where, you know, instead of having just a recorded slideshow, if you will, it's either narrated or you have a talking head speaking to things. And you know, your question about transitions and components and like that, mixing in short video with text, I think that's the way to go. I think in a lot of the examples you've seen, you know, especially I think in Tim's example, you saw kind of how there was a great little shot of some action happening with that screen being turned around, and then they had like a shot of just the Cisco components. So that was video and image mixed in easily. You can put text over it, just pay attention to what platform it's showing on, because your captions will get cut on some things depending on how it goes. But there are a lot of really cool programs out there. I know Loom is one that allows you to screen record your desktop, so you can record your desktop as you're doing something. And we've used that for, I use that for training a lot, or for showing people how to do things. Like I'll record myself going in and doing something so that then somebody can go and watch a video of me doing that. And you could very easily use a program like Loom to play a PowerPoint, narrate over it, add video in, or get that footage that you would use to then edit everything together. I think, you know, to Dean's point too, just kind of jumping over a little bit, I think, you know, he mentioned, where is your audience? And that's, you know, when you're wondering about where to post your stuff, that's the most important thing you can think about, is where are the people that you want to attract to your business consuming social media? Like, are they on Facebook? Are they on Instagram? Are they somebody who's using TikTok a lot? And once you figure out where that is, it'll also give you a better idea of what kind of video you need to be producing, like what's doing well. You know, I'm not a TikTok dancer, but if I can spend 15 seconds catching somebody's attention, that's a good thing to know. I don't need to go out there and produce a 10 grand professionally edited video. So figure out where your audience is. And if you don't know where your audience is, look at where your competitors are. Look at where your competitors are spending their money, and what they're doing to attract the audience that you want to be attracting. Because then you can say, okay, like, here's where I should be investing my stuff, and here are successful videos that I see on this platform that I can emulate. So I also saw a question about music, and I just tagged my team. I'm gonna let you know what sites we use. There are a lot of free video or free audio sites that you can use.
Yeah, I actually typed into chat as well. Actually, Pam, if I can add, I think your earlier question was like, what's the formula or the script that we use for video? Was that the question? What was the question again?
The question was professional ways to make informational-based video.
Yeah. So actually, just if you give me like 6 seconds, I actually found this in my Google Drive last night that I used for some of my clients. Let me try and hold it up if you guys can see it. So this is a video. It's kind of hard to see, but I'll read it off. So it's a video ad formula that we use. It's basically broken down to 5 phases of a video storyboarding. Basically, attention, grab their attention. What's the problem? build credibility, offer solution, and take action. So I'll give you guys like a real quick, just off the cuff idea right now. Let's just say a carpet cleaning business wants to do a video ad, right, on maybe Facebook or video. So using this storyboard, how do we go about this? So let's just skip past the attention hook for a second, because that takes some level of creativity from my part that I can't provide right now on the spot. But let's go into number 2. Like, what's the problem? Well, the problem for most people, if they want to hire a carpet cleaner, is, well, I have a carpet that's really stained or dirty. So that's the problem that you want to address with your audience. In this case, hey, are you living in the Rockville area? Do you have a carpet that's really stained or dirty that you need fixed? So then number 3 is build credibility. That's build credibility for your business. So this could be something along the lines of, hey, we've been in business for 20 years. We have 5 locations. We've served 10,000 customers. We've been awarded XYZ awards through the years we've been in business, right? Number 4, offer solution. What is your solution to your target audience? Again, this could be something along the lines of, maybe you have a very special in-house process for cleaning the carpets. Maybe you have a lifetime guarantee. Maybe relative to your competitors, you have a really quick 48-hour turnaround time. So you want to think about what your solution is to your audience. And then number 5 is take action. What action do you want the audience to take after they're done watching your video? Do you want them to pick up and call you? Do you want them to fill out a form, download something, yada, yada, yada? So that's sort of a basic, just off the cuff, scripting process that I go through with some of my clients.
Well, I wanted to add one thing also that what you were talking about with the question Margaret was addressing about when you have PowerPoint and you're doing a presentation. I used to use this quite a lot. I haven't used it lately because it's a product called ScreenFlow. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it not only records your screen and also the audio, but it also has a built-in editor as well. And if you get this particular piece, for those who are handy, I think Andy would probably like this. It's a Scarlett. It's basically you plug it in to your laptop and also to a wireless mic, and you can actually, as you recording and presenting through a projector, if you're obviously in a face-to-face, you can record your screen, the audio, and basically your presentation is on an editing program, so you can go back in that particular editing program and cut out the parts that you don't want, whether or not if it's lulls in the action or whatever, and you can also add things to it. So it's a great way to take something like PowerPoint and turn it into a video presentation.
Great. So we've covered some things so far. We've talked about what to consider when you're getting started in terms of what platforms should you focus on, things to think about when putting together your content, tools to use when editing your video, information on music, soundtrack. How about content? Are there certain trends that businesses should consider that are more successful than others, that get more attention than others in terms of content?
Well, most recently, with the chamber, I found that when I was actually shooting a video interview of somebody, I could take that and turn it into a blog. And then the combination of the two are really very powerful, because when you put the video up on YouTube, it lives forever. I mean, it has a good shelf life, particularly if you use keywords. But in terms of the content, when you're doing an interview, it's not all things fit all people. I mean, sometimes you have brand stories, you have training, you can go deep dives, but testimonials are particularly good because you can talk to somebody about what they do and how they serve their customers, and that becomes a really strong message for them. So I would really kind of focus on some of the shorts that you can come out of that, and some of those micro videos that you can come out of that kind of approach.
How about length? What are some recommendations to consider when thinking about the length of the video?
Yeah, I mean, this is highly dependent on the platform. Like, I have my own small little YouTube channel, which is focused on digital advertising. that's where a good long form, really works. You can get away with producing 30-minute videos that people watch, because on YouTube, people forget that YouTube is actually a search engine, for video. So people are doing a search for like how to XYZ something, right? So with YouTube, you can get away with long form. Many other platforms such as IG, TikTok, 60 seconds and under. LinkedIn, I found the sweet spot for LinkedIn is anywhere between 1 minute to 5 minutes. Facebook doesn't really have great organic reach. So I'd avoid Facebook, but that's in terms of length, that's what you're looking at.
Yeah,
And I
2 to
think
5
in
minutes.
terms, I'm sorry, go ahead, Tim.
No, I was going to say 2 to 5 minutes is that sweet spot. I agree.
And I think in terms of ads, if you're doing a marketing strategy and you're using your video for ads, the shorter the better. I think, try to stay around the 30-second range, maybe go a little bit longer in some cases.
So again, I mean, this is like my favorite word, like it depends. Depends on the business that you're in. Like B2B, usually it depends on the complexity of the product. Like I used to work as a search engine marketing manager for Capterra, which is like the biggest SaaS marketing company in the US. So when you're marketing software, it could take several minutes to explain the software and all its features and stuff like that. If you're a restaurant, everyone knows what a restaurant is. So yes, you can get away with 30 seconds just by showing B-roll footage of food. Professional services, 30 seconds to 90 seconds, like dentistry, lawyers, realtors, stuff like that. It just really depends. I've seen 8-minute video ads for like coaches that works really well too. I think the key here is really to focus on your messaging and to make sure that you're capturing their attention for the entire duration of the video.
Yeah, I think it's usually user specific. And, I'm sure some of the people in this panel have experience too on this area. Like I know Andy, for instance, he's a particularly good tech guy, and I know he does a lot of real estate as well. So hey, Andy, do you have any kind of success story on some of your videos? If you don't mind me asking them, are you available to talk?
Yeah, it's really from a success video. So it's just, and I think Dean kind of referenced this. I guess the success that I have is, you have to know who your audience is and really understand like what your strategy is and what you're trying to do. So all the time I have people call me. I don't know who they are. They're building a relationship with me right now as we speak, where they'll just be like, hey, they call me up. I've been on your website for the past 6 months, right? I'm moving into town. I watched all your videos. I mean, obviously I'm exaggerating, but I mean, I've had people say similar stuff, where I watched your videos, very helpful. Looks like you're the guy, right? Like, looks like you're the Rockville guy, right? And then there's still obviously the process of, you got to take it from there and do your job and close it. But they're so, I would say that's the success that you have. I mean, it's obviously a ton of work to do it well and to make it effective. But if you're willing to put in the time and be patient, that's the other thing. None of this is overnight. But I've had the opportunity is enormous. It's huge because so many
most people aren't doing it.
What's that?
Because most people aren't.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Like
exactly.
I know your space, Andy. Like you're a realtor, and I used to work as a marketing manager for a real estate school. And if you try to get real estate agents to do this sort of stuff, they don't want to do it because they just don't have the time, or they're road warriors or whatever. And those are all legitimate excuses. But the market, like my biggest message to you guys, the market is huge for video because most people don't want to do it. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. Now I could sit here and go through a 2-hour webinar on how to do a video, but after that 2-hour webinar, 90% of people still won't do it because it's just a mental thing, or it's motivation. It's not rocket science, but it's hard work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also about testing. It's got to test things out too. I know with Tren, we were working on some stuff, and she's she's a little nervous getting out there, but she's doing it. I mean, I think the most important thing is just to try things out. You're not going to break anything, honestly.
Right. So the last thing I'll say, and I don't want to say any more because it's not my my show. But the big thing that I would say is don't be afraid to give, people, and that's definitely like, archaic, like industries like real estate, where for the longest time, I think so many people have gotten value, or so many people have believed that the way that they get business is that they withhold information, and then people are going to come to them and they're going to ask them. I mean, that's such an archaic view of marketing today. And you should be giving out, like, give people your best tips or your best information. Like give as much as you can, because that's what makes them understand that you're the expert. They're not going to come to you and just randomly, other ways. So
yeah, I mean, if I can add on to that, like I had a couple of marketing agency friends of mine who are like, Dean, like just like 30, 60 days ago, they're like, Dean, you give away too much information through your YouTube videos and your newsletter. Aren't you afraid of like people just stealing your information and doing whatever with it? And I mean, there's always that possibility, but like my mindset is, especially as a marketer, is that you can steal my tactics, but you can't steal my strategy. Like there's a strategy to everything I do. I can sit here and give you 10 different tactics, but if you don't know what to do with it, it's not going to matter. And like you said, it's just people's mindset. They have to, they're still like, a lot of people are still operating like it's 2010 where let me hog all this information. And my mindset is like, if you don't give it away for free, somebody else will. So you may as well just do it first.
And also there's an issue of scarcity, I think. Sometimes we're maybe marketing to the wrong people, and we really need to find people who have budgets who really need this sort of thing. So.
Great. Before we wrap up in terms of the things that we were going to cover, we talked a little bit about tools and tips for producing your video. Let's talk a little bit more about that. Simple ways to improve the quality of the video. The light rings, things like that. Margaret, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I think, as everyone has said, you shouldn't let yourself get hung up on, oh, I don't have the right stuff, or I'm not, capable, or I need all of this stuff. You can totally go fancy, but if you have a good phone, you are 99% of the way there. So, there's a light ring. Tim's got it. They're available on Amazon. It's $30. Those are really great if you are in a position where you're in a static spot and you've got it, or you can put it on your selfie stick, use it with your phone. Really good options for getting some good lighting out there if you don't have it. I think, I have worked with people who have introduced selfie sticks to their team. And I know that's such like a 5-year-old trend that everybody hates, especially in this part of the country, because you see them and you're like, oh, tourists. But, it's great because you can hook up your little play button down where you're holding the thing and hit record, hit go. You get that arm's length reach so you can see yourself. If it works for you, do it. I think the whole point is whatever's going to make you comfortable and get you out there and say, okay, I can cross this bridge, run with it. I think as far as mics go, audio quality, especially if you are, producing something that might be a little bit more like long form. Dean, you might have some good recommendations on cheap microphones. I know Yeti is a brand that's out there that everybody's kind of on top of. But really, you can hear yourself, like record yourself, listen to it, see if it's good. There's a lot of other stuff that you can, get your setup
fixed,
incorporated with. Tim, you might have a good option as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like outdoor, like a guy like Andy, like you're always on the road, so you could be doing, I haven't seen Andy's videos, but if you're like always on, outdoors and you're recording, get yourself either a lavalier mic for like $20 off of Amazon. If you're not satisfied with the lavalier mic or a lav mic, LAV, get something more high end, like a what they call a shotgun microphone that can be attached to your smartphone. That's a little bit more. It's under $100, but definitely worth it. Do a search for Rode, RODE mic on Amazon, and you'll see some stuff for them. I have the Rode studio mic, which is $170 for my YouTube stuff.
Yeah. And then Blue actually makes what is called a Blue Snowball. These have been around for a long time, but these are probably like $50 now, but it has three little switches, three little positions back here for, wide and also medium and also short range. So this is a USB, which obviously doesn't work on a phone, but does work on a computer. But those are really good. All you have to do is turn off the ventilation system in your house so you can kind of keep it quiet. Put the dog over to your over to your neighbor's house. But in terms of the phone, I think I introduced this earlier. I know I showed Trin this thing, but if you get Adobe Rush, RUSH, you can download it from the App Store or Google Play Store. And it's a really simple, easy to use phone app to be able to produce movies. And they do have a professional level of it as well, but you can simply take pictures, videos. Comes with different plugins inside of it that you can put titles and things. And it actually exports directly to Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and also Facebook. And it's so quick. I went over to, I don't know if you've heard of Black Lion, but they're a coffee shop over near University of Shady Grove, one of my favorites. And so during the pandemic, and I was asking him if he was doing any kind of social media. He goes, no, not yet. So I said, could I do a little quick shot? So I did a little interview of him talking about, what he offers and what his, what his customers need, why they're coming there. And then I took a quick kind of B-roll shot of the video of the coffees that are on the stand, and quickly just put them inside of Adobe Rush. Put one on top of the other so that as he's talking, there's kind of like a B-roll as he talks of the video of him showing the actual coffees. And then I just instantly put it on Instagram. So it was up probably in about 10 minutes. So it's really quick and easy to do. And it's not too hard. And you could also take your own videos yourself, obviously, or even record your own yourself here, and then you can do the same thing. So there's so many tools out there, but the most important thing is to get started with something.
I think one thing that I jotted down when we were talking about length of video that we didn't quite touch on, but it's worth putting out there. YouTube is owned by Google. So if you have a Google Ads platform that's running, you can hook your YouTube account up to Google Ads and incorporate your video into your PPC campaigns. You want to make sure that you have a pretty decent video for that purpose if you're going to do that. But the sweet spot there is about 15 to 30 seconds. So it's pretty quick. But Dean's list of how to hook somebody with a quick introduction is perfect for that, because the first 15 seconds of your video should be your value add. Like what is my, like, what am I solving? How am I grabbing your attention? What is the problem that you have? Because that's what's going to keep somebody from hitting skip video like we all do, when you're skipping that ad to get to the content that you're looking for. So I think do longer form videos, because that gets you the content, and then cut them down. Go out there, shoot your long videos, make it worth it, like with that 4 to 5 minutes of content. But then think about what's that 15-second sales pitch. It's kind of like your old school elevator pitch. Like you've got 30 seconds in the elevator with somebody. What are you going to tell them about yourself or about your product or about your service? And work on trimming it down. And as you edit, you'll get better about thinking about that content and that storyboarding going into the process, because you'll know right off the bat, like, here's what I need to do in that 15 seconds to grab somebody's attention.
Yeah, and storyboards doesn't have to be so formal. I mean, sometimes you just scratch out ideas, either in a list form or because it becomes almost like a shot list at that point. And like Margaret and Dean talk about it all the time, I mean, make it as natural as possible. Try not to make it too scripted, because it sounds like you're scripted, and just be yourself, because that's all they're going to get anyway.
And I think, again, just to reiterate at the end of the video, the call to action. What do you want people to do? After watching that, the most critical piece Do you want them to go to your website? Do you know, what is it you want them to do? It's an important thing to keep in mind. Great. Well, we've covered a lot of great information. Those who are already doing some video, I hope that you have some additional takeaways from this session. Those who aren't but would like to, I hope that you will try it. I hope that you have the confidence based on what you've learned today to get started and know where to start. Are there any other questions before we close? A lot of information is also being added to the chat as we go. You can save that chat. At the bottom on the right, there are 3 dots. If you click that, you can save the chat and capture information and contact information that's in there. We are going to continue to build on this by, these sessions are a series. This is the first one. So for the next couple of months through September, we're going to add different topics and continue to build on the marketing in the digital space topic. So I hope you will join us moving forward. I also want to remind you to check out the Chamber webpage that you have as part of your membership. You can build that out as well, and you can add things there. Margie will talk a little bit more about that, but I will go ahead and turn it over to Margie and she can tell you more.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody. You can see we have experts in marketing right within our chamber. So, and I'm sorry about the pup. That's one of the things you said. Put the pup away. I just want to tell you about a couple upcoming events. On the 9th, we have a lunch and learn with Laura Nash from Edward Jones. On the 22nd is our mix and mingle with the Silver Spring Chamber. And on the 23rd at 9 o'clock, we're going to have a tailgate party at the Beanbag Deli. So come on out, have some coffee, breakfast. We'll be in our cars. We'll be social distance, but those who want to come out, I figure let's just do a quick morning coffee. And then our next marketing, as Pam was saying, is on May 6th. And the topic is crushing it, how businesses are booming with digital media. So that will be a nice follow-up to this. And then our next one is going to be June 3rd, July 9th, and September 10th. So that's our marketing series roundtable lineup. So thank you all for participating. We appreciate it. And thank you all to the panelists and to the committees. I know you put a lot of work and time into the chamber, and I just want to let you know that I appreciate you.
And also, I just wanted to add, we appreciate any feedback too. If there are any topics that you think would be helpful for us to include in future sessions, let us know.
Great.
I wanted to say something, Pam. This was a great discussion, and you guys put in everything so nicely. This was more about the video, and of course, with the end result being harnessing social media, getting that call to action that you spoke about. Do we have a follow-up event where we can discuss more about how to generate that activity? You have a great video, you have put it out. How do we generate that activity on these social media platforms to get that traction to your website or to your business? How to make this more effective?
Yeah, and that's what we're planning to follow up with is kind of different aspects of this. So in the next session, we'll expand on just like you said, now that you've produced the video, what do you do with it and how do you increase that engagement? And then we'd like to also add in additional tools for leveraging your messaging. So email marketing, other ways you can leverage the digital environment for your marketing efforts.
Wonderful. Thank you. This was a really great session.
Good.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining. I hope everyone can enjoy lunch outside or go for a walk or something today now that we're finally getting some nice weather.